Bushiris are back in court this morning. The self-proclaimed prophet and his wife, that's Mary Bushiri, face charges of fraud, theft and money laundering to the value of 100 million rand.
On Friday, the magistrate rolled the matter over to allow the state time to prepare its head of argument. So let's go to Pretoria now, where we find eNCA's Tshegohaco, Moagi, Nqobile, Madlala, and find out, Tshegohaco, firstly from you, what is expected? I mean, there's always been high drama inside and outside the court.
Oh, absolutely. Good morning, Jane. So today what we can expect is the magistrate to continue with that particular bail application for the Bushiri couple, together with Landu and Nqobile, who's accused number 6. So there's about 6 people that have actually been accused in this particular case of fraud, theft and money laundering. And on Friday we also heard the state saying that although they would have loved to start with their heads of argument on Friday, they requested that this matter be rolled over to today, and that's exactly what the magistrate has then granted. So that's what we'll be hearing today. We'll be hearing the state speak about just giving their heads of argument, and we are also expecting for the defense to respond to that, depending, of course, on what happens and what the magistrate really has to say. So she's really also just cautioned that there won't be a judgment as yet. So no judgment or no ruling on the bail application will be expected today. And on Friday, she even said that she was not even going to make a ruling on Friday concerning this particular application. So she's really taking her time with this, Jane, and I think it's because of all the different things that are now coming out, all the elements that are coming out in court concerning this couple, where we heard that they have got 3 passports each, and they also have a Malawian diplomatic passport, which they have seemed to have used in South Africa as well. So there's a lot of complex things that are coming out. Of course, the state very concerned that they may be a flight risk as well. So the magistrate really taking her time with this particular case and saying that she will not be making any ruling today either.
Indeed, colleague, can you remind me of, just regarding that diplomatic passport, that it's been found that they don't actually have diplomatic status, even though they do have their diplomatic passport. But let me come to Nqobile, Madlala. I mean, I could see today it's a bit different. There's traffic flowing, cars are moving behind you. Usually, colleague, when we have a conversation at this time, there are usually supporters behind you. There's usually law enforcement behind you trying to divert traffic. It seems to be a different case today.
Well, it seems like people are running a bit late, colleague. From what we see, though, they're already setting up behind us now. That's the place that they normally stand on and start singing from. So the stage is clearly being set for now. And again, those banners that we have seen in the past that says, we stand with our major, hands off our prophets, already up. But of course, the numbers are a bit slowing down at this point. We were expecting to see a little bit more people, but we haven't seen that. Francis Bard is already open, is still open. But of course, we'll see at around about 8 o'clock going forward to see exactly how many supporters are going to be coming. Now, you will remember, colleague, that last week they were saying that they're unshaken. But we'll see that the time that the magistrate is taking, as my colleague Tshegohaco is saying, that she's taking her time, and she said that she won't be delivering the judgment today, or the ruling today. Now we will see if that will remain the case for the people that will be coming here, because we remember that last week they were saying that they're unshaken. So will they be shaken with that time? Well, we don't know. And also, colleague, we heard last week they said that they were ready to go inside to support their prophet. But we will see, because at this point we're not seeing that much support. So we'll see if the numbers will trickle in as much as they did in the past.
And Tshegohaco, what else do we need to know about what's likely to happen in court, and what sort of information we've already ascertained going forward?
Well, Jane, we have, of course, heard about the issue of them being a flight risk, as I've mentioned, but also their defense really just saying that they aren't a flight risk at all, that all their passports have been handed over to the investigating officer, including the fact that some of the plane that they have as a couple, that has been seized. So, as Tumelo mentioned, they do have those diplomatic passports. However, they do not have, they aren't diplomats. They are not seen as diplomats in Malawi, which is quite interesting. And We also remember, Jane, that the status in this particular country was also questioned, with Home Affairs Minister Aaron Motsoaledi speaking exclusively to eNCA, mentioning that they are looking into the matter as their papers are currently fraudulent. However, that then was set aside. That particular matter was set aside by the Pretoria High Court, where it was then ruled that their status remains, that they've got permanent residency in this particular country, in South Africa. So those are just some of the things that have come out throughout the course of this particular bail application. And we also understand that they have said in their affidavit, both the Bushiris have mentioned in their affidavit, that they have got a beautiful home set up with their children in Johannesburg. However, we also heard then that their children actually live in Malawi, where they go to school and to preschool. So that's something else that has also come up and quite contradictory to what has already been mentioned. So a lot is really coming up about this particular couple and the lives that they lead. Interestingly enough, I'd like to mention this as well, is that on Friday we heard that when Bushiri was when he handed himself over, he said he knows where he lives, but he does not know the address. So that was also quite interesting, and it seemed as though, according to what the prosecutors said, it seemed as though they do not actually live in one home, that Bushiri gave a different address compared to where Mary Bushiri was arrested. So that is some of the information that is coming out now. Of course, they still need to verify these addresses, and we are expecting then the state to give their heads of argument today and just try and stamp this and close this particular bail application. There are, of course, Jen, I'd just like to mention that the state is, of course, opposing the application and opposing bail in this particular case.
Right, and just painting a picture then outside Nqobile. I mean, yes, we've heard from the magistrate raising concerns about the number of people that have been outside, citing, obviously lack of social distancing, lack of wearing masks. But it seems there were other concerns here, which I would say pertain to our profession, reports around the intimidation of reporters. Can you just bring us up to speed to what might have happened?
Well, Dumelo, it's quite sad to know that when we're doing our jobs, sometimes we become victims of such when you are in the field. But what basically happened was that for the past few days that we have come here, now you will remember this is day 5 coming here. From the second day when we were here, we were attacked by some of the marshals. And that was because how the argument started was that there was somebody who had come in. This lady had a different opinion as to saying that the people that were here, that they were allegedly hypnotized, that they didn't know what they were speaking about, and she alluded to a lot of things that she believed in. But that seemed like there was no place for her, and everybody else was really unhappy with her. But then it was the security guards that were the ones that were looking in the line and making sure that everybody was staying in line and not walking into the streets, that then started attacking us because this lady wanted to speak to us on camera, and then they started attacking us to such an extent that they went as far as hit the camera, intimidated us, and we had to leave. This was just the second day. Now, just last week, the same thing almost occurred. As we walked in, we were told that the reason why we are here and we are working is because the Prophets was now paying our salaries, and because we are covering the Prophets' story, and that's why we had the job. And when we then responded, it became such a big thing to such an extent that one of the people that were here, who is part of the people that are seen as officials in this church, then started saying really bad things towards one of my colleagues, Tshegohaco, Moagi, and he then started attacking, which then Gloria, who's our field producer, then jumped in to try and assist. But then by the end of the day, she was hit by a door used by this person that is an official here, and she had a bruise on her arm. By the end of the day, we literally walked out of here and her arm was sore and she couldn't walk, but she couldn't use it properly. But then, colleague, it's really, really sad to see that happening, because even though we are here, we're here to do our job as much as they are here to support the people, but it seems like there is no room for a different opinion, and therefore that's why we had such happening to our field producers, to to our reporters as well. But we will remain to see if today will be the case. We do know that from one of the people also in the church who's an official, they did say that they reprimanded the guy, and they did see what was posted on Twitter by Tshegohaco Moagi, and they did note it. So now we'll see now going forward whether or not the guy is sorry. But I do know that on Friday when he was driving out and we were about to go on a live, he didn't seem really sorry. In fact, he was passing the looks and he kept staring at our field producer almost as if he didn't care what had happened. And he was asked to say sorry at that point, but he didn't really pass that. So we will see today as to whether or not we are welcome. But we have already started reporting, whereas last week when we started reporting already, there was that little tense moment. There was that argument already starting. For now, everyone is just still in their corners. We'll see with time what happens.
Be safe, colleagues. All right, that's where we'll leave it. Thank you so much for joining us and doing the best you can in these, of course, I don't know, it's an environment filled with tension and toxicity because, you know, the supporters feel that they're right, and those who don't support the prophet and his wife feel that they're right. And, I mean, I suppose our colleagues there being caught in the crossfire.
When you have politicians and all of that sort of also attacking media and, you know, fake news and all that kind of stuff, it gives people the go-ahead to behave in this way as well.